acting DHS Secretary and America First Policy Institute Executive Vice President Chad Wolf. Great to see you, Chad. So how does this scandal affect the issue of ICE agents, all the trouble that maybe now Americans will be more understanding of what they're trying to break up?
Well, I think that's right. Look, there's two issues at play here. There's two sides of ICE that do complementary missions. You have the removal operations. Those are the individuals that are going to arrest illegal aliens and then remove them from the country. But then you have Homeland Security investigations. These are federal investigators that will go out and look at financial crimes, will look at fraud, will look at a variety of different crimes. And in this case, I'm sure they're partnering with the FBI and other federal law enforcement to get at the root of what's going on there in Minneapolis with all of the fraud.
Now, what happens if ICE itself knocks on the door of the governor, a governor who said he doesn't want his police officials to deal at all with ICE agents? I mean, is ICE going to have to break down the door of the governor if he's part of this investigation?
It could be. I don't think they'll have to break it down. But yes, obviously the governor is going to have to cooperate with federal law enforcement. Otherwise, he's going to get taken to court, and that'll be quite messy. Look, I think the American people are looking at this. They're shaking their head, and they're thankful for President Trump and his team because obviously they're doing what Governor Walz wouldn't do, just refuse to do, and we see that obviously taken apart now. We also see what the legacy media wouldn't do. You had a YouTuber that had to go and investigate all of this that's now coming to light, and I think people are kind of shaking their head and saying, what's going on out there? So the real question is how much more fraud is there occurring in Minneapolis?
Yeah, and I'm just wondering whether or not the American people themselves, I know the president has lost some support in the Latino community, some of whom think that too many people are being swept up in sweeps that are supposed to focus on the worst of the worst. And some people, whether they're gardeners or folks just trying to earn a living, didn't come here for the welfare, certainly do any fraudsters, whether they're getting swept up in it. This really might change things a bit.
Well, it possibly could. But look, to your earlier point, I think every 6 out of every 10 individuals that they're arresting here have some type of criminal record. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. But you are correct, in which is this is another sort of side of what ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, does, is that they investigate some pretty bad things here, crimes outside of just immigration violations per se. And I think that's what you're seeing here. And again, I think the American people, whether it's the FBI or federal law enforcement, such as ICE, HSI, they're glad that they're on the case. They're glad they're getting down to it because it's their American taxpayers or tax money that is being defrauded here.
Have you seen, I mean, nobody wants to stereotype all Somalians as fraudsters, but it does seem to be happening in other states as well, where Somalis are involved directly in Medicaid fraud. It's happening in Maine. Apparently it's going on in Ohio. There's some suggestion of it happening in Vermont as well. It does appear that that the word spread in the community of migrants from Somalia and back in Somalians coming and going back and forth from Somalia, that this was an easy target. And have you seen that? Did you see that before, where certain ethnic groups get drawn in because the word gets around in their community?
Well, I think there's certainly that going on, and you just have to look at the arrests thus far of there in Minneapolis. I think it's almost 80 individuals out of 87 that are tied to the Somali community. Look, and it's no surprise. Let's just call it what it is. Somalia generally is a very corrupt country, and so you need to keep that in mind. It's almost like a cultural thing where you pay off individuals, and so. Yeah. It shouldn't be a complete surprise that you're starting to see this type of fraud in these communities. Obviously, the biggest one there is in Minneapolis. There's also some evidence coming out of Columbus, I believe, Ohio, yes, and elsewhere. Yes. So it's certainly something to keep an eye on.
Chad, let's move on to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's living it up on TikTok, singing for his fans while DHS is facing a gag order on his case, which comes after that federal judge decided to cancel Garcia's human smuggling trial. It was set for January, instead ordering a hearing on whether Abrego Garcia is being, quote, vindictively prosecuted. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin blasted the, quote, activist judge, saying American justice ceases to function when its arbiters silence law enforcement and give megaphones to those who oppose our legal system. What do you make of this?
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. And it feels a little bit like we're back in 2020 with President Trump when he was on trial and got all these different kind of gag orders, but everyone else could talk about it. So when you have Abrego Garcia making TikTok videos, but DHS actually can't talk about all the evidence that they have against this individual, again, I think many Americans are just shaking their heads saying, what is going on? This individual has no legal right to be here in the United States. He is not a U.S. citizen. And every time the Trump administration tries to remove him or deport him to a safe third country, they're getting blocked by an activist judge again and again and again. Ultimately, this will be resolved in the Trump administration's favor. Unfortunately, we're having to go through all these additional steps right now, though.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a lot of bad guys are out on the streets. Chad Wolf, great to see you. Thank you so much.